excuse us for eating here this evening. We have been in a meeting since 5 o'clock, so for most of us, it's probably our first chance to eat this evening. So we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, real quick, Commissioner Sennett sent his regrets that he was here for the work session but had to step out.
We have a few people here tonight that I think are here to speak on specific agenda items. So when we get to that item, you can just come up to the podium, raise your hand, however you'd like to signal, and then we'll give you a chance to speak. You won't, if we can address it during the regular agenda, you won't have to speak at the end unless you still choose to do so. All right, our first item of business is consider the minutes of the October 25th, 2022 regular meeting and the November 3rd, 2022 special meeting.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 2, consider designating 121 East 6th Street parking lot as a space for all farmers market from April through October. Denise.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we have had numerous requests throughout the year of wanting to use that parking lot from different groups, and we have, as staff, talked it over and believe that we should be able to accommodate all of those who choose to use that parking lot. They would still have to fill out the application to use it, but I think the parking lot is big enough, and this keeps us from having to make the decision of which farmers market we want to have in there, and we don't want to get into the case of people bringing it so soon for each year, and then everybody trying to outdo the other one. So,
Thank you. Need a motion for that if somebody so chooses.
I believe there's some people that would like to
Oh,
speak
on that
to
one,
that
I'm
item.
sorry, I didn't look up. Yeah, go ahead and come up to the podium if you would. And state your name and address for us.
My name is Joel Hurd, 516 Cherry Lane. I'm the market manager for the Harvey County Farmers Market, and for the last 2 years we've been behind the Old Mill Plaza, and the owner of the plaza has graciously let us use that and wants to let us continue using that, that being also, I just, it'd be, sorry, I'm nervous here, so. We've been there for the last 2 years, and both Breadbasket and Old Mill appreciate us being there. And with it, I don't know, but that's where we'd like to stay, just because it's a semi-permanent place for us, and there wouldn't be a chance of conflict of interest or debates or anything like that. So I just encourage to let us continue using that parking area behind the old mill.
Mr. Joel, if I may?
Yes.
Over here, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
No, you're just fine. So first off, we don't bite. We're real friendly. So please don't be nervous. I'm sorry, but I get it. Like, a lot of people don't like public speaking, unlike me. I could talk to a brick wall. So, but I would tell you, sir, that where you guys are located now at the old mill, that is private property. So the city has no say in whether you can or cannot continue to operate there.
Okay.
That would be between you guys and the property owner. This particular designation is just a public parking lot for the city specifically. It's a public lot. So
Okay.
we were just trying to designate a spot where anyone who wanted to operate a farmer's market
Okay.
publicly could do so. I mean, that is all we are not trying to tell you not to operate at Old Mill if you guys are in agreement with those property owners. That is completely up to you all and whoever is in charge of your particular market. Is that helpful?
Yes.
You can continue to operate there regardless of what we do tonight.
Yep, but that is a private lot. It's between you and the owners of the property, so.
Okay, well, then I misunderstood the,
No, you're just fine. We just wanted to make sure we had a public venue available as well.
okay,
Yep.
all right.
But thank you for coming, though.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry you had to wait around on us, so.
Anybody else want to speak on this particular one, item 3? Or I'm sorry, item 2. Yeah.
Well, I'm Scott Eckert from the Harvey County Extension Office. I've been here since 1999. I know a little bit about farmers markets ever since I started here, but one thing I want to encourage you on, not just the location, but I believe you need to have a uniform set of rules and regulations for vendors. And in those rules, you need to have what is and what isn't allowed in a market so that there's no confusion, there's no disagreements over what somebody can sell. So we do have that with the Harvey County Farmers Market. Just wanted to mention that with you. And I would suggest that for whatever you have going into, yeah, I left it over there on my chair. We update that every year. We also have state guidelines that we follow. So all of our vendors will follow state guidelines that are updated every year. And a lot of it has to do with labeling, proper labeling, and food safety items. And that document is through the Kansas Department of Ag and K-State Research and Extension. So there's a whole guideline there that we follow in our market, and your market or your location, again, it's not just location, it's the market and however you go with that, whoever has that spot. We also have a market manager, and I would suggest if you allow multiple entities in a farmer's market in one location, you're going to have multiple rules and regulations, you're going to have multiple market managers, and I think you're going to have issues there. I think you're going to have issues with personnel, and, you know, Market A has this rule, Market B has this rule, Market C has this rule on what kind of pies you can bring. There are safety things, and I'm cautioning you to encourage whoever is using that lot to follow those safety guidelines. Have a manager there to uphold those, and to be at the market, not just to set people free and let them go do willy-nilly what they want to do. That can cause issues too. So there's a little more to it than just a spot, and I know that's what your goal is tonight, but my suggestion is have whoever has it have a set of guidelines, just some safety things in place. I think that would be very wise, and I should say if you don't have that already. So you may have it, I don't know, but that's my suggestion. And anyway, that's what I wanted to say, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, so we're consider designating 121 East 6th Street as the space for all farmers market from April through October. I think what was presented is probably different from what we're doing, so if we can have a motion one way or the other for that space.
I would move that we designate that spot for the farmer's market.
Okay.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item 3 is in relation to that same spot, but to receive a request for 121 East 6th Street parking lot for the Newton Farm and Art Market for winter events.
Yes, in your packet, you have an application from the Newton Farm and Art Market for some special events that would be happening in the winter. On the back side of that request are for a small business Saturday, Christmas holiday market with some alternative dates, the NFL Wild Card Division and Conference Championships, as well as the Super Bowl, also for St. Patrick's Day, and then for spring or Easter. And that request is in your packet for you to approve or disapprove.
if I may, for clarification, you touched on this with the previous item, but these would be outside of the timeframe you have just approved, the April through October markets.
We don't,
Hence an additional request.
and we don't provide anything for those events, traffic cones. trash
No, we
cans,
do not
nothing.
provide anything.
Okay.
What is staff's recommendation?
It's fine as far as staff goes. That's not a problem.
Okay.
I would move we approve this application for special events.
I will second.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, item 4 is to consider extension of the option to purchase land with Tindall. Chris?
Yeah, I can cover this. My apologies, the actual document was not in your agenda packet. That's on me. I do have some extras for anyone in the audience that wants to see it. Otherwise, I think we can upload it to iCompass after the fact. You've seen this before, just for the benefit of the public. This is known as the Tindall property. The city entered an option contract to purchase it and subsequently signed an agreement with GAF, whereas they have an option to purchase it from the city. The document that's before you is an extension. So with an option agreement, it's got a price and also a time where it's good for that you could execute at any time up to that deadline. So this is set to expire at the end of the calendar year on December 31st. What this document does is the parties agree to extend that timeline to, I believe, March 3rd in the document. So it provides us with additional time. The city can execute the option at any time prior to, but this does provide us with extra time. Staff would recommend approving this extension. It's already been signed by Tindall. Once we sign it, and it will be effective. It'll be filed with the Register of Deeds. I would stand for any questions. I would also just give a thank you to Tindall for working with us on this, and they've been a great community partner. Stand for any questions on this.
Other than a date change, there was nothing to the terms.
That's an important point, right?
Price, everything stayed the same.
I move that we approve this extension of the option to purchase the land with Tindall.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 5 is to consider a purchase sales agreement with Murdock Properties for 4 lots in the Newton Industrial Park. And Zach?
Yeah, Lou Robelli approached us here recently. He has a tenant that requires 38,400 square feet, to be exact, of a building. So we teed up some property that would have worked out for what he needed, and that we fell on the 7.93 acres here at 9th and Industrial, and this is in the Newton Industrial Park, not the Kansas Logistics Park. So to make that distinction. He wants to expand, have the ability to expand on that 38,000 square feet to another 100,000 square feet. So his plans ultimately are to have about 140,000 square feet of building space on this acreage. He did not disclose the tenant, but they're ready to go. He's got the building in the warehouse. That takes him about 2 months to construct the building from start to finish. He's ready to rock and roll with this. So pretty straightforward, high level view of this contract. It's $12,000 per acre, roughly $95,000 for the total sale of the deal. Again, it's pretty straightforward. I would yield for any questions you may have.
I would move we approve the purchase sales agreement with Murdock Properties. I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thanks, Zach, for your work on that.
Thanks.
Item 6, consider changes to the snow route. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners, the last time changes were made to the city snow and ice control route was 2018. After review of the routes prior to the season, staff recognizes recent growth on the south side of US 50, especially along that South Kansas corridor. We have some changes that we would like to add a few streets to the priority 4 and 5 routes. The map that's on the screen is the existing snow route. And should you approve this evening, we would be changing the priority 4 and 5s, which are the yellow and the kind of turquoise blue on there. We would add additional streets to those priority, remembering that we start with one, and when we get that all cleared, then we move on out as time allows prior to a full melt. And one would be Wheat Ridge from South Kansas to Duncan, Wheat Ridge from South Kansas to Paddington, Paddington around the roundabout, the Windward Drive from Paddington to South Kansas, and Boyd from Broadway to Fifth. The costs for labor and materials to treat the snow and ice route comes from the street operating budget, and that is out of the general fund.
Is the map in there what will be the new route if it's approved? Or is that the old route?
This is the existing.
Okay.
Once you approve it, then we will update the map, and it will be put on the website at newtonkansas.com.
And several of the streets she mentioned didn't exist last year.
Yeah.
Remember the roundabouts and all that stuff, so that's partially why. And they're by Newton Medical Center, that area.
I would move that we approve the updates to the snow and ice routes.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 7, receive an update to the proposed Southeast 4th and Slate Creek for box culvert replacement, street and water line improvement projects. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners, at the April 26th meeting of 2022, the City Commission heard the problems that we are having with an existing box culvert over Slate Creek. It's in need of replacement, and the commission voted to move forward with the design work. This is the project would remove and replace the box. It will take care of a water line that needs to be replaced that is kind of going along with the box there. And it will reconstruct paving on Southeast 4th, just to what would be the west of the box, all the way over to Walnut. And the plans are near completion. We have sent out, in your packet, there is a flyer of a public notice that has been mailed to the property owners that would be adjacent to this roadway and have been hand-delivered to those in case there are tenants that do not own the property. We're having a public meeting tomorrow evening. It is a come-and-go open house. It'll be in the third-floor conference room.
Thursday evening.
Yeah, Thursday.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry, Thursday.
How long when you're ready?
Yeah, from 5 to 6:30. It's come and go, and we'll be there to answer questions. We've sent out the information, as you see on here, that talks about the project, what's going to occur. We'll be talking with those individuals about what happened specifically at their property, their driveway entrance, the sidewalks. We have to bring the sidewalks up to ADA, current ADA standards. Anytime you touch something like that, then you have to bring it up to the current standards. We have a lot of permitting to go through at this point. Once the plans are complete, we'll be sending those off to the state. This goes through the Division of Water Resources because we are dealing with a waterway, and the water line plans would have to be approved by the state as well. Once we have the input from the public at that meeting, then we will finish the plans, send off our permits, and then we will come back to you for approval of plans and specifications, and we'll put the project out for competitive bids.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Sidewalk work that has to be done, brought up to compliance, will be done at the cost of the city and not the homeowner, correct?
Yes, but it is, yes, it will be.
Okay, so I thought that, wanted to make sure.
Yes, yes.
Sidewalks can sometimes be a
It's tricky,
tricky subject.
yes.
Okay. All right, item 8 is to consider renaming CR2 to Rayler Field at Centennial Park.
Yes, I think we have you had a map maybe in your packet, and there's one on the screen. The ball field improvements that were recently completed. This was a PBC project, a Public Building Commission project, and CR2 field is a new field. This is, obviously, we don't have an aerial with that yet, but that's the location shown where the CR2 field is located. We want to quit calling it CR2. The field is completed. The Newton Recreation Commission has suggested to call it Rayler Field. This will be the home, maybe not first thing next year, but definitely the following year, of the high school softball team, for sure. And then some of the younger boys that are not at high school age can also play ball on this and there could be tournaments that would occur here. We would have 4 fields then for tournaments. But we would ask, because we do own the property of Centennial Park, we would ask for you to rename the field Rayler Field if somebody comes forward and would like to name it after somebody else or provide a big donation to pay for the lighting for the field. I'm sure that you would consider that according to the naming policy at that point in time. But until then, we would ask to call it Rayler Field.
We'll need a motion for that.
I move that we call what is now CR2 Rayler Field.
I second.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thanks.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Zach, consider transferring 3 city lots to the Newton Land Bank.
Yeah, we identified 3 properties that the city owned, and we thought this would be a good exercise for the land bank to bring the first properties in where the city is the owner of the property, so nobody gets hurt in the transaction if there's, delays or whatnot in processing these properties. So we just thought it would be a good exercise, and these are 3 identifiable properties that the city does own that would be good for infill development, and the land bank unanimously accepted these, would be willing to accept these properties, and we are here now asking the city commission to move the wheels forward and donating those properties to the land bank.
We have some pictures here. We're scrolling through.
Yeah,
Tell me
and it's
if you all wish to go back to something here, so.
106 Brookside Drive, 118 South Kansas, and 324 East 11th are the actual addresses for the people at home.
Zach, maybe just give us a rundown real quick of what happens once they go into the land bank. What's the plan with them?
Yeah, we can get a clear title on it, expunge any taxes, like back taxes. Basically, it's a tool to have in the toolbox. It's not a one-size-fits-all tool, but with these, we would hope that we could either, the best hope is to do the best, or the hope is to have the best use possible, and not necessarily just extending someone's yard. So if someone comes in, says, hey, I'd like to put a house here, that's what we want, whether it be habitat or a single-family user. We're going to deal with it being the first best use is what we want, not just extending someone's yard. So we're going to clear these properties, and then we'll list it on our website and the land bank's website through Choose Newton. Those will be available at 75% of the appraised property value. And that's the common practice in other land banks that we have mirrored. So again, this is just an exercise of the land bank, and just kind of before we start taking in donations from other parties, which there are interested parties in donating to the land bank. We just want to make sure we have all of our worked out all the kinks, so to speak.
Yep.
Do we want to? Okay. Yeah.
And of those 3 properties, I think staff's identified one issue on the Brookside one, so we want to do a little bit of due diligence on that one, but I think staff would support the other 2 being transferred to the land bank, holding off Brookside for now, but we'll report back on that.
Is that Brookside?
Is that this one?
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think Zach covered it, but the land bank did meet on this and made the request to receive these properties, so it's obviously your decision to okay that transfer. So that'd be that decision.
And I believe the issue with that property is floodplain.
It's floodplain. It's also the only location we have to access to clean out under that bridge.
Okay.
And anytime we have to do work to the bridge, that is a location where.
It might just be something we look at and come back
Yeah.
with, but
We need
maybe
to
hold
look
off
at
on
it.
the transfer
Yeah.
at this meeting, and we'll report back.
Can we transfer 2 of the lots?
For sure.
Okay. So can you tell us which 2 lots minus that one? Remind me again. I sort of have to look through the notes here. There's one on 11th and
Yeah.
South Kansas and 11th.
And East 11th Street.
East 11th, okay.
Well, I move that we go ahead and accept the transfer, agree to the transfer of those 2 properties, South Kansas and East 11th, to the land bank.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 10, consider an ordinance amending Article 6 of Chapter 21 regarding the designation of school zones and the hours of reduced speed limits in such zones. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners. The school zone along First Street by Slate Creek and Chisholm is an area where we have quite a bit of traffic and we have a lot of kids. And our police officers have noticed, and our crossing guard, that the time frame that was noted on the crossing traffic control and on the ordinance is not allowing enough time to get all the kids crossed. And so we are just requesting to add 15 minutes to the First Street school zone. And you have an ordinance that supports that here. And the school staff that is responsible for this has reviewed it and said they are in favor of it as well.
Ordinance number, Denise?
I can't decide if this is on. Is this, okay.
Yep.
5101-22.
I move we approve ordinance 5101-22.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, we are going to table motion 11 and 12, or item number 11 and 12, so we'll need a motion to table those.
I move that we table items 11 and 12.
Second.
There's a motion and a second then to table item 11 and 12. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, citizens forum. Ed, you're the first one wrote down. If you want to come up and give us your name and address, and we will listen to you.
Okay. I'm a lifelong resident. I live at 921 North Spencer Road, which is 9th and Spencer. And I don't totally understand what's going on yet, but I've been told that we have an opportunity to lower the water rates. Is this correct? And then there's some discussion to not lower the water rates?
No. What we talked about is ongoing cost with the water and how we proceed moving forward. What are our options going forward with increased cost in the water and sewer department? We had a work session at 5 o'clock, and that was not to talk about lowering. We were talking about what our options are moving forward.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just recall like 6 years ago when there was elections that I was complaining about the water rates in Newton, and I was told, well, just be patient. We'll have an opportunity to lower the water rates. So this was actually mentioned by people here on the commission that I won't mention their name, but they led me to believe that there will be an opportunity in the future that we could lower the water rates. And maybe that's coming to fruition. Is that coming about, that possibility coming about?
We haven't made a motion. We literally had our work session tonight.
Okay.
What I can tell you is that maybe what was told I'm not going to say what was told. I wasn't there 6 years ago, so I can't speak to that. But we would listen to recommendations that you have for us regarding the water if you wanted to give them.
Well, we need to lower the water rates. I'll tell you why. I live in an area on the east side of Newton here, and, I'm the only one that has a lawn. I ask other people around my neighborhood, why don't you have a lawn or a garden or grow flowers? We said, well, we can't afford the water. And, as far as city beautification, if people don't want to buy a plant or something because the water rates are too high, I mean, that needs to be considered. Water rates are just too high in Newton, and they need to get lowered, and I'm hoping there's a time when we can do that. We need to also protect the growth of our community, and when we have exorbitant water rates like we have, that doesn't encourage businesses to want to come in and build plant and whatever to grow the community. We have to have lower water rates. So that should be the goal of you guys, to try to get the water rates lowered. Another thing is that we have retired people that like to have gardens and have flower beds, and that makes our city beautiful when we have citizens who want to do that, to have beautification. But they won't do it if the water rates are so high. They can't afford to do that, and it drags down our city beautification. So those are just things that I need to express, that our goal should be to lower the current water rates. And I was told, again, 6 years ago, that we will have the opportunity to lower them. And I hope that opportunity is coming soon. And that you guys will actually live up to what you told me. Another thing is that we need to be competitive with other cities around us. If people want to come here and move here and have businesses, and we can't be known as the highest water rates in the Midwest. So that needs to be changed. So basically, I've said what I need to say. I hope you guys will make an effort to take in consideration the feelings of the people in Newton, that they feel the water rates are too high and we need to get them lowered. And if nothing else, let's have a referendum. Let's have a referendum and have people decide through a referendum, do they want to lower the water rates, or do they want to keep the water rates as they are? And I think by the vast majority will say, hey, let's lower the water rates. And I think we can do that through a referendum. Next election coming up, we can just add that as for people to vote on. So that's another consideration. But we got to get the water rates down. That's just, there's no doubt about it. It's going to kill this community if we just keep having them the way they are.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Herter, Mr. Eckert, you're both signed up, but you want to add anything to what your conversation? Okay, thank you. All right, that is all that's signed up for tonight. We will take a moment to go around, and we'll start with Commissioner Cry.
I have nothing
Okay,
to add.
Kelly.
I would just note, we had an executive session on here, sir, that if needed, and we do not need it. Yeah, so that would be my note. Oh, and you mentioned it earlier, sir, at the work session, but the second meeting in November for the City Commission and the second meeting in December, which we're having the meetings on the normal meeting day. However, they will be at noon versus 7 p.m. due to holiday scheduling conflicts.
Okay, Chris.
No, sir.
Okay, Suzanne.
No, sir.
Donna. Commissioner Valentine.
Well, I hope you don't get tired of me saying this, but I appreciate our first responders, first of all. We continue to hear on the news, my husband and I'll just speak for us, that the nonsense continues across the country to want to either defund our police or shoot them. And that's happening. And I'm so glad that in our community, we have no desire to defund our police, and that we appreciate them and our first responders. I don't know that problem is going on with fire and EMS, but you guys are always ready. You are always ready to jump right in and get where you need to, and you're professional. We thank you for those services, and I hope you don't mind me repeating myself, but I truly, truly mean it, or I wouldn't say it. So thank you.
Vice Mayor Kane.
I have nothing.
Okay. I'll just conclude by saying we did have a long work session, and enjoy the time for us to come together and get facts and speak to one another and just have open dialogue here. And just, noted that on our next meeting and the last meeting in December, we go at noon, we have a 7, and then we have a noon meeting. So pay attention to those. And as always, these meetings are live streamed, and then you can view them later if somebody's not able to make it at noon. So we try to be as accessible as possible. All right, meeting adjourned. Have a good evening.